Hello, thanks for tuning in for this August collective reading. I pull a spread of tarot cards to see what the energy is for the people that I read for or the collective, whoever comes across. So in this theme of August, it's seeming like we're kind of in this stage of needing to slow down in our approach to things. And yeah, I feel like ultimately every message is like, just let go and surrender. But again, that's coming through in this month, really just in terms of how we effort things and how we relate to like creating things and really looking at our relationship with like what we feel our responsibility is in terms of making things happen or creating or things like that. So if that sounds familiar, come on, we're doing a reading, but let me check on my phone what the reading was too. So in terms of what we need to look at, just in terms of like ending the past cycle and moving into this next month, we are being asked to look at and reassess, kind of look at what this relationship we have in regards to bringing things to the material. So what that could mean is like literally the phrase that just comes to my head is making shit happen, like, hey, I need to go do this thing. Let me go do this thing. There could be this motivation of lack. And what I mean by that is like feeling this need to go into overdrive, like almost feeling like I gotta do this and I gotta do this and I gotta do this and I gotta do this, and it's gotta be like flawless and perfect and tunnel vision for sure. And that's interesting because this has been a theme that's come through in card readings and readings for myself and even just what I'm thinking about. But especially like being in a society that bases its importance on how much you can produce or create, I think we automatically have this lens of, okay, well, it's like this amount that I need to do and this and this, and I'm just thinking of like calculations. But like, where did we find or hear this idea that we need to like just do a lot of shit and it's not gonna be good unless I do a lot or create a lot or make a lot or do things that make a lot of money, or like, where did this emphasis on that come from versus like just existing? And I know that's like a huge question, but I think we're just being called to kind of acknowledge this overdrive, because it's almost like someone's in a rush and you're like, where are you going? Like, it's right here, you're not gonna miss anything, like you're going too fast. Or like sometimes we get caught up in this, my god, like blah blah blah, it's not gonna happen unless I do blah blah blah, and it's like whoa 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 whoa. And this actually seems like a great segue from July's reading, which was about looking at how quick we are to like fall down that snowball. And so specifically in this message, it seems like it's on the material plane. So this could do with your job, your career, your art, your creations, your money, anything like that you are like bringing in, from idea to reality. So yeah, being asked to look at that relationship and look at what our relationship is to our work and our work ethic and our job, and like really, and this is going into a whole tangent, but really looking at that relationship, like, do I feel the need to like get her done? That's a horrible like like, just what is that relationship, and like, is it serving you? Because going back to a society that deems like importance and value on how much you create and how much you do and how much you work, is it healthy? Or do you have healthy boundaries with that? Are you aware of that? Just starting to look at this, because like at the end of the day, yes, it's important for our livelihood, but sometimes things are not worth like ruining our peace, and that can be hard to hear sometimes, but we deserve more. You deserve more. We deserve more peace and more respect. And I think really like it starts with us, and it starts with us noticing these cycles and being able to know that we deserve better and really call and ask for better. We don't have to demand, but just really owning into our own power. And so the next part is, what do I need to step towards? And oh yeah, like I said, this is a tarot spread, sorry. I don't know if it would help for me to go through the cards or just to do a general reading, but I'll leave the cards that I got in the description. And yeah, so needing to step towards for August. It's funny because it's the Fool, that's why I started talking about them, but the Fool is all about letting go and embracing this new journey, this new way of being, and for it to be kind of moving away from this idea of overdrive, really like stepping into this place of, do I have to work this hard? Do I really have to effort to the point of like burning myself out? It might be scary as shit because it's all we've ever known, but like you're being asked to just kind of like lean into that and let go of this feeling, this need to just all the time, you know? It sounds scary to have to let go, because I think, and this for me personally, just like realizing our tendency to be so preoccupied with how we are going to make money, or how we are going to survive, or how are we going to, you know, and it's fascinating because it's like, well, where did we develop this need? And I think it would be interesting to, you know, trace through human evolution and their economic patterns, but that's another video for another day. But yeah, it's just this message of really creating awareness around that and being willing to ask yourself these questions and check in with yourself, like, because we're human beings on a floating rock in space. If you end up working yourself to oblivion, where did your life go? You know, like there's just so much peace in letting go of that clinging and that motivation of lack, like well, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. And if I don't figure it out, it's going to be ruined, you know, like just that whole energy and that tendency for us to like immediately snowball. And so just bringing awareness to that and learning to move to a place of more self-respect and more like tenderness towards ourselves, because yeah, our culture is so intertwined with work, and it's just interesting, and it's interesting when you kind of like step back and you're like, well, what's going on? Like, is this sustainable? Is this where am I in all of this? You know, it's like we forget to look at us, and it's like, oh, it doesn't matter, I need to make money. And I feel like this shift collectively too, you know, with these systems changing and all of these things, we are experiencing like this kind of crumbling of what's gonna come next, what's gonna come out of this. We're finally waking up to, you know, what we deserve, and we deserve fair wages and to be treated fairly and access to healthcare, and you know, all of these things. We're waking up to like, wait a second, I mean, the strikes, like it seems like we are collectively beginning to wake up to what we deserve and what we are willing to receive. And yeah, I think just with how short life is and how fragile life is, like we owe it to ourselves to really tune in and check in, like where are these parts not serving me? Where are these parts actually harming me? Because if we're actively allowing ourselves to be harmed, it's just like this yucky cycle, and we all deserve better, and we deserve peace and respect and fair wages, I just went on a whole thing, but that's what channel messages are. And the Empress reverse, like the Empress is this idea of like really tuning into ourselves, and it seems like this is a very urgent message of like checking in with yourself and like asking, where are these parts not serving you? Where could you use more love? Like, where do you need more attention in your life? Really tuning into worrying less about this and the doing, and just, it doesn't mean you have to stop doing. It doesn't mean you have to like change everything all at once. That could be an option if you're like down for that. But we just need to make sure we focus on that, because that determines our livelihood. That determines our lifespan, like if we are letting ourselves just burn out and like I don't really have any more words. So an interesting letting go. And in terms of how this is all, in your best interest and for your best good, this is where your success lies, and where this, these ending of cycles just being like, this clinging, like once we realize that we are not alone in this process, and that there's actually a lot of other forces at play other than just like us getting shit done, and really trusting in that, and trusting that by learning to incorporate more balance in terms of how we relate with our work and money, and like trusting that it's all going to come full circle. It's going to balance out on the other side. Like learning to let go more is actually going to like free fall us into more success and more good energy and good fortune. And this might not always be like in our awareness or in our consciousness, but things only get better when we take care of ourselves, and that includes emotionally and mentally, physically and spiritually. Like when we can take care of ourselves from a holistic point, it's like biohacking. Like we operate better, we operate cleaner. And when we are so focused on, well, how am I going to do this? And how am I going to do this? And almost just like a really frantic energy, like, going back into fight or flight, like that mindset will fast track us into just being tense and stressed. And our success lies in like being easy and free flowing, and that doesn't mean to just like throw everything out the window. It's all about that balance, the equanimity, like finding that balance. And we've got to restore that balance now by tuning into ourselves and really looking at our relationship with that, looking at our relationship with rest. Are we making sure to get that rest, that other part of balance? Like if we do, we need to rest. It's cyclical. It's nature. We need that rest, that winter, so we can come out in the spring and summer and like knock it out of the park. But again, our success lies in honoring those cycles and honoring this connection we have with money and with work. And tuning into ourselves will be the key to our success, and learning to just check in with ourselves and what do I need? Where can I best have support? And now, all of that beautiful stuff, not to say it's all going to be clean and easy. So the other theme coming through is kind of being aware that as we orient ourselves to kind of a new way of beginning and a new trajectory, really, this specifically being like orienting towards showing ourselves more love and care and respect, and turning away from this idea of frantic doing, things might fall away. And the way your life has been set up thus far might be challenging and difficult. You might realize you need to like switch it all up. You might realize you've gone down this path and you're like, oh, but knowing that things are going to have to come down so we can actually put in what needs to be put in a way that's respectful. Because a lot of times we realize like, oh shit, like I've kind of worked myself into this corner or something where I'm not respected at all, and I don't really know how to get out, and it starts to feel insurmountable is what's coming to my head. And we really have to trust that these things that do not serve us need to fall away so that we can be in an environment of respect and in this new place where we feel not like burnt out when we are thinking about our livelihood, and really finding these more sustainable ways of living. Because at the end of the day, like, yes, we need our needs met, we need food, we need a place to stay, we need all of these things, we need money, like there's no question about that. Does that still bring up a possibility of future new ways of dealing with exchange or bartering? It doesn't knock any possibility out. It's just like in this present moment, we have to use 3D money for groceries, you know? So because we have kind of just had this whole way of being and living up until this point, we need to be aware that what is presently not working is going to fall away. And it might look really challenging, and it could look like that. But we must really lean into this trust that what's not serving us is falling away, and we deserve new ways of doing things, especially in terms of creating our livelihood and this relationship with our needs and things like that. So the energy to be used as a remembering or an awareness of is just really checking in with how we are holding on to our money, holding on to our things. Where can we loosen our grip a little? Where can we come at this with less of like this energy of not having enough, this mindset? And where can we trust in the divine flow and cyclical nature of exchange? And yeah, this is it seems coming through very connected to our material reality. And you know, in 2023, that looks like us working jobs and having income and building income streams and you know, finding ways to create wealth. And I think that our keys to success in that way is going to begin by shifting the focus and respect to ourselves, and really checking in to make sure that is like the baseline, making sure that we are fundamentally taking care of ourselves first, and then pursuing what we feel is in line with our goals and our intentions and yeah, our values, because we deserve it. Life is short, and we deserve to be happy and healthy and really live for ourselves and not for anyone else or anything else. And what a beautiful message. I hope that resonated for you. Let this August be full of prosperity and love, and I will see you in September. Bye.